In this video, I'm going to give you 6 tips on how to get your ex back by texting. Texting is obviously a very convenient way to contact your ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, and I recommend that you use it, but I don't recommend that you overuse it. Overuse of texting can cause a guy to mess up his chances with his ex and lose her completely. So with that, here are the 6 tips on how to get your ex back by texting. Number 1, use humor, but don't go overboard with it. So here are some examples of using humor via text. A guy recently commented on my YouTube channel and he said that his ex-girl contacted him and said, "I miss you a lot. It's only been a couple of days. I've been trying to distract myself a lot, but it's not working. I don't know." In cases like that, it's best to use her text as an opportunity to make her laugh and feel attracted to you. A couple of the ways I suggested he could reply are, "Haha, of course, I'm not easy to forget." And then he might add in an emoji with the tongue sticking out or a winky smile. Alternatively, he might not have any emoji in there at all. Another reply to her text is, "Who's this?" And then when she replies with something like, "It's me, Sarah," you can reply with, "Just kidding. I've missed you at times too." Alternatively, another reply is, "I was missing you for the first hour or so, but then I forgot all about you. LOL, what's your name again?" So with her text, it's pretty obvious that she is having a difficult time dealing with the breakup. In a case like that, the guy can get her back quite easily. All he has to do is spark some attraction and get her on a phone call, meet up with her, and he can pretty much get her back. By the way, with the example of replying with "Who's this?", it's obviously to suggest that you've deleted her number. You could also reply with something like, "Who's this? I don't have your number in my phone." Or if you know for sure that she will really get the joke, then you could say, "Who's this? I think you have the wrong number." Of course, not all women are going to get the joke, and that's one of my points. With texting, it's so easy to misinterpret what the other person is saying. When you're joking around in person or on the phone, the other person can quickly tell that you're joking based on the tonality that you use, or if you're in person, the body language that you're using and the way that you're behaving. So while it's a good idea to use humor via text with your ex, so she feels attracted and she feels good talking to you, just make sure that you don't go overboard with it. Here's an example. If your ex is the sort of girl who is really chatty via text and enjoys texting back and forth, here's an example of what you can do. She texts you with something like, "Hey, so how are you today?" And you reply, "Can't tell you." She then might reply with something like, "Why?" And you can then reply with, "I don't want to hurt your feelings." She may then reply with, "Tell me, what is it?" You can then say, "I'm eating pizza, Hawaiian, your favorite." You might want to add in an emoji there with the tongue sticking out and add on an LOL or a haha. She will most likely then reply with an LOL or haha. She will get the joke. However, once you've done that, it's very important that you don't get into an ongoing text conversation where you're trying really hard to say something funny. If you do that, you will most likely eventually come across as trying too hard. Alternatively, you might be doing a great job of texting her, but she will then realize, "Hang on, I'm being too nice to him. I need to play a little bit harder to get." She will then start replying in a cold or distant way, or she will stop replying altogether, or she may take a couple of hours or a day to reply to you. This may cause you to start doubting your humor and your ability to attract her via text. You might start worrying that you've said the wrong thing. Yet, in fact, what's really going on is that she was just playing a little bit hard to get, so she didn't look too easy. So while it's a good idea to make your ex laugh via text so she can feel as though things are good between you and her and it's not difficult or awkward to be talking to you, make sure that you don't go overboard. Make sure that you don't end up trying too hard and putting in way too much effort to get a laugh. If you do that, she will most likely start to feel turned off by it, or she'll start to play hard to get. Okay, so the next tip on how to get your ex back by texting is, don't talk about your feelings for her. Unless the feelings are mutual, she's not going to want to hear about your feelings for her. It's going to feel like you're coming on too strong too soon. You're asking for a relationship or reaching for a relationship when the feelings aren't even mutual. She's not feeling sexually and romantically attracted. She's not feeling in love, but you are. You're trying to get back with her because you feel like that, but she doesn't feel the same way. So you need to make her feel the same way. And you cannot do that by telling her how you feel via text. It just doesn't work. Number 3, don't ask for another chance. If you're texting back and forth with your ex-girlfriend or wife, you definitely shouldn't ask her for another chance via text. It's so easy for a woman to play hard to get via text. It's also so easy for her not to be feeling attracted. She can be reading some of your texts and misinterpreting them. She can be looking at your texts and thinking that you're being insecure, you're being desperate, you're being pushy, you're not understanding her, and so on. As a result, if you ask her for another chance via text, she's almost certainly going to say no. So when should you ask her for another chance? You shouldn't. To get an ex back, what you really need to do is get in front of her. You need to be in person with her, making her feel attracted, turning her back onto you, and then hook up with her and get the relationship back together. Sometimes it is necessary to discuss giving the relationship another chance before you hook up sexually. That is fine. If it seems appropriate and it seems right to bring it up, you need to trust your gut instinct on that. If you're interacting with her and she's feeling attracted and it seems like it's the right time to talk about the relationship, then don't be afraid of it. Bring it up. Just make sure that you're not being really soppy and romantic or needy about it. Be a man about it, be direct and to the point, and don't be afraid to express some feelings. By express some feelings, I don't mean express them in a needy, desperate, soppy kind of way. Just a matter-of-fact, manly type of way. Number 4, vary your response times. Now, this one might seem pretty obvious, but the reason why I'm including it in the 6 tips is that so many guys get it wrong. It's very obvious to think, all right, well, I'm going to vary my response time to my ex-girlfriend or wife to show her that I'm not needy. Yet, the mistake that a lot of guys make is that they go too far with it. She texts him something and he's got an opportunity to capitalize on that by using humor and making her laugh, and he doesn't reply. He leaves it for 4 or 5 hours and then replies in a neutral way. She doesn't laugh, she doesn't feel attracted, and then she stops replying altogether. Alternatively, he pushed it too far by waiting for the next day or 2 days or not even replying at all. Of course, you don't have to reply to every single text that your ex sends you, but you don't need to go crazy about it and go overboard and really try to show her that you're not needy by not replying to texts. Just vary your response times. Make sure that you're not instantly replying to everything. Make sure that you take a calm, confident approach when texting her. Number 5, avoid long texting conversations. Sometimes a guy feels like he can't call his ex-girlfriend or wife or get her to meet up with him because she doesn't seem to want that right now. He's not assertive enough about it, and he doesn't get her on a phone call and make her laugh and get her to meet up with him in person. Instead, he thinks, well, at least she's texting with me. So he just uses that as much as he can. For example, he gets into long conversations with her about the relationship. He explains his feelings, he asks her loads of questions, he tries to explain where he went wrong and what he now understands, and so on. In almost all cases, that is going to turn the woman off. For example, she feels like it's just too stressful to be interacting with him. It takes too much work. She's having to read these long messages and reply and go into a lot of detail, and they are misunderstanding each other, and it just keeps going on and on. Alternatively, she might look at it as him being desperate. He's putting so much effort into writing long text messages that he just looks a little bit needy. Right? He looks like he's lost without her, and it's so important for him to get her to understand his point of view. What he doesn't understand is that the most important thing is actually how she feels, how he is making her feel. Everything that you say and do when you're interacting with your ex counts. You're either turning her off or you're turning her back onto you. You're either making her feel attracted or you're pushing her away. That is the reality. So when you're interacting with your ex, you need to be focusing on attracting her and turning her back onto you. You need to be making her feel like there is still something there between you and her. You need to make her feel like she is missing you. She can't stop thinking about you, and she thinks that it might be a good idea to give you and her another chance. Number 6, get to a phone call and meet up ASAP. I've heard of so many cases where a woman was showing interest in her ex-guy via text and he just kept texting. Texting and texting and texting and texting. Eventually, no more texts. She stops replying and all of a sudden, he's out of ideas. He doesn't know how he's going to get her back. Well, what you need to understand is that texting an ex-girlfriend or wife isn't the final step to get her back, obviously. You've got to get her to meet up with you. If that involves getting her on a phone call first, then do that. But you've got to get her to meet up with you. You've got to get in front of her and make her feel real attraction. In person, you can get sparks flying between you again. You can make the love start to flow into her heart again. You can make her look at you with loving eyes. She focuses on your positive qualities. She feels attracted to you. All of the mistakes that you made in the past just go out the window. She doesn't really care about that anymore. She's focused on how she's feeling, and she's feeling attracted to you. She's feeling drawn to you. Something is telling her that she should just kiss you and give you another chance. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video and learned something from it. If you'd like to learn more, I recommend that you watch my program, Get Your Ex Back Super System. When you watch the program, you will learn the easiest, fastest, and most effective way to get a woman back. The techniques in the program make her want to get back with you right away. Other guys have done it, and you can do it too. One final point that I want to make for you in this video is to remind you that texting is a good way to contact your ex, but just make sure that you don't use it as your main approach and the only thing that you do to try to get her back. If you keep texting, she's most likely going to lose interest, go cold, and stop replying altogether. So I recommend that you do use texts if necessary, but just make sure that you actually get to the final step, where you're in front of her, you're making her feel attracted, she's turned back onto you, she's feeling drawn to you romantically and sexually, and you get her back into a relationship for real. Don't hide behind text, don't hold on to texting conversations and think that you've got her back just because she's texting with you. Get her back for real.